I didn't work for Elon Musk. Elon Musk was not in charge of my show. He was simply a distribution and content partner. So the Don Lemon Show would continue on even without Elon Musk. I have friends who work at networks, and I talk to them all the time. And they say, hey, Don, we can't cover, and we haven't covered Kristi Noem's husband and his big boobs. We can't do that because it's embarrassing to the Trump administration. They should be promoting and elevating and supporting the people who are out here and fearless, talking about the things that are important to save our Constitution. Now, as you know, Bakari, I'm not a Democrat. The reason I say that is because I believe that Democrats are the only ones that are fighting for democracy right now. They're not doing such a great job. And so that's why I say Democrats should be supporting independent media that is speaking on the behalf of democracy.
I'm going to talk to my gay friends and say, Don Lemon says, y'all got main character syndrome. And I'm going to
People want someone who's going to fight back, who's not afraid of fighting back, who's not afraid of getting in the arena, who doesn't maybe have all the answers about policy and is steeped in this and steeped in that. Donald Trump doesn't have any of that, but he has a plan and he has an agenda.
Championships on championships.
But sometimes people get it twisted. Sometimes it's people like you.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Bakari Sellers Show. I got to get used to saying that. I like saying the Bakari Sellers Podcast, all things Bakari Sellers. But anyway, the Bakari Sellers Show, and I want to welcome my lemon heads. Isn't that what you call them, Don? Your fans?
Lemon heads or the Lemon Nation. Hey, look, you better start getting used to the Bakari Sellers Show because I have a strong suspicion that this is going to be very successful. So get used to the Bakari Sellers Show.
Man,
I'm already a subscriber, and I don't even know this episode is happening before it's even official. So I'm very happy for you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, before we get started, let me just tell everyone thank you, Don Lemon, for the voice that you've been, the big brother, the uncle, the best friend, always being there when moments are up and down. But we share a great relationship, and I'm proud of everything because you got knocked down, and you could have stayed down, but now you are someone who's created your own media empire. Tell me about how you ended up where you are from the last time we saw you on CNN.
How did I end up where I am?
Yeah.
I think I got pushed. And you think like, oh, this is bad. And then now I'm like, thank goodness it happened. Because you never know what's happening to you on the other side, right? You think like something is, that is, it's a blessing in disguise. You never know. And so I feel like this is a blessing in disguise. So how did I get here? I took some time off to figure out what I wanted to do and if I wanted to do anything. And then it was about a year. And then I said, you know what, I need to have a voice for the 24 election. And I decided the best way for me to do that is to do my own thing and to come up with the Don Lemon Show, much like the Bakari Sellers Show. And
modest.
I did.
We're modest. We're definitely modest, to say the least.
Yeah, and I didn't even know if I was going to do it beyond the 24 election because maybe I wanted to pivot. But then it became so successful. I said, well, why not? And so that's how I ended up here. And in a position right now where I have growing pains, where I have to either get bigger or just leave it the way that it is, and everything is pushing towards making the Lemon Media Network more substantial and having a broader reach.
Before we get to the Lemon Media Network, because I want to talk about that, because we're in the age where we have independent media kind of running the day. You started out in TV. You've been in Baltimore, you've been in Philadelphia, you've been in Chicago, Birmingham, St. Louis. How did you end up with Elon Musk, and what happened with that?
Well, one thing, just a slight correction. I never worked in Baltimore, but I do spend time in Baltimore. I have reported in Baltimore, but I was, what was I? New York, Birmingham, St. Louis, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, New York. So just sort of everything, the old school sort of journalism route. What was your question again? You said
you started in this kind of
Elon Musk.
Yeah, and then you ended up on the X platform pretty quickly, and that you gave one of the best for young journalists out there. Your interview with Elon Musk was the best journalism I've seen in a very long period of time.
Thank you for that. I ended up there because because he asked publicly, and it's one of the biggest. Twitter is one of the biggest social media or digital platforms in the world. And I figured if there was a place for me to be able to make an impact, that it might be there. And he contacted me, not publicly, he put it out on Twitter, hey, why don't you bring your show here? He wanted balance to the platform. He wanted someone that he deemed to be on the left or whatever to balance a platform that had gone far right and conspiratorial. And, I didn't end up pretty quickly there. It was like a year, I think it was just about a year since, I'd left CNN and he started asking me to be on the platform. I said no a couple of times. And then they hired Linda Yaccarino, who was, at NBC and was a professional adult. She had a good reputation in the business. And I said, if I'm going to be negotiating or doing this, it has to be with adults and people who understand it. And they reapproached me when she got hired. And I said, okay, let's talk about this. And the reason that I did it is because it was on my own terms. That what we had negotiated was that I would be able to say and do whatever I wanted to on the platform, and I made it very plain and known to them that I'd have to criticize the owner of that platform sometimes because he is a public figure and he is very consequential. And they said, great, that's exactly what he wants. He said, I want you to do that, and then we do the interview, and not so much. And the interview wasn't seriously, I wasn't like digging into his personal life. It wasn't like gotcha questions. I was talking to him about things mainly that he had talked about publicly. But for some reason, he didn't like it. And, maybe that was probably the hardest, most in-depth interview that he had ever done, because most of the interviews that he had done were like on podcasts and friendly territory. And journalists aren't supposed to be friendly or not friendly. We're just supposed to ask questions and get answers. And that's what I did. Maybe he thought that he had, somehow paid for me to not be a journalist, but not so. So.
I mean,
that's what happened.
That was something we were excited about, and then I guess it ended up, but it also preceded you being here, creating your own network. People think that you just can show up and kind of take a camera out and start your own podcast. How does Lemon network? How does all of this come to fruition? Because I remember you walking up and down the street with, a microphone, interviewing people on the corners, which I was like, Don, you got to stop doing that shit. Please stop just being out there by yourself like that. But how does that end up? Give people how you ended up creating this network that you have.
Well, one thing is that I always had intended on having the Don Lemon Show, and that it would be on any digital platform that it could be on. So, I didn't work for Elon Musk. Elon Musk was not in charge of my show. He was simply a distribution and content partner. And so once he wasn't a distribution and content partner, that's the only thing that changed about it, is that he would not be paying me for content that was curated and specifically made for his platform, and that was it. So we had intended to be on all platforms, so the Don Lemon Show would continue on even without Elon Musk. How did I end up? Well, look, I just went back to my roots as a journalist. The reason I did this was because I wanted to be closer to the bone. I wanted to be closer to to the ground, where people were actually making real decisions about who to vote for, what to vote for, which policies to vote for, what candidate related most to them. And so I went back to the roots, which is to go and talk to people. And not to, no offense, Bakari, have people sitting around on desks in shiny desks with lights and makeup and suits, the same people that you hear from all the time who, are political pundits. And that's not where
no
zeitgeist
offense,
is.
I'm talking about you, Bakari. No, I got it.
Yeah, no, but that's not where public opinion actually lies. Or if you're looking for real end-time polling, you just go out and talk to people. So it was odd to me when people said, "Oh, you're out on the streets, you're doing man on the streets. Oh my gosh, why have you gone back to that?" That never left me. That is where journalism starts. Every time you interview someone who is in a major story, whether it's in a war zone or something big that happens, a breaking story, maybe it's an explosion or a shooting, all of those interviews are man on the street interviews. And so we were in the middle of an election, and the people who were going to be deciding who was going to be in the White House were the breaking news stories and interviews that people I needed to talk to. So that's how we ended up here. And then the Lemon Media Network came about because of the success of that, because people were engaged, and our subscribers started to grow, and pretty soon we had 300,000, then 500,000, then 800,000, and then 1 million, and now we're up to 1.3 million, and we're moving into 1.5 million, and then we'll get to 2 million, and so that's where that came from, and just from being authentic, doing the work, not having it filtered through gatekeepers, and I had to untrain myself from the things that I had learned in corporate media about thinking 85 times before I said something. I didn't have to do that. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can say that. And you're probably going to beep it, maybe not.
I don't think
so.
But
I could never say that. I could never do that in corporate media. I could never do what I did today in corporate media by saying, look, I'm going to tell you, I feel the spirit of Malcolm X coming over me when we talk about the ballot and the bullet. And Plymouth Rock, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. I could not have that energy, because people would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. I could not tell people that this issue is a white people problem right now. This is not just rich against poor, because most people who voted for Donald Trump are not rich. These are white people, co-opted, poor, and working class white people who put this man in office. And if I had said that, on corporate media, oh my gosh, you're a race baiter. Anchors shouldn't be saying that. No, I say whatever I want, and I tell the truth, and that's how we got here, and that's why the Lemon Media Network, I believe, is growing.
I want to talk about Trump in a minute, but let me dig a little deeper on Don.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
This is Tony Ayo from The Real Report with Tony Ayo and Uncle Murder. You ever notice how everything keeps going up? Rent's going up, streaming services are going up. Even your favorite burrito spot suddenly thinks salsa should cost extra. But with Boost Mobile, you and your phone bill don't have to play the will this go up soon game, because Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. It's the same price you'll pay for life, meaning you're set to never worry about your bill increasing again for as long as you're on the plan. While the world keeps finding new ways to nickel and dime you, Boost Mobile gives you unlimited wireless at one set price for life. Imagine something in your budget actually staying the same. You'll pay the same for unlimited wireless when you're posting mirror selfies in your 20s and when you're posting mirror selfies in retirement. Some things never change. Switch now for unlimited wireless at a price that'll never go up, only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending. Zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Dad, Disney activities are on Lingo Kids.
What?
Moana and Elsa and Marvel's Spider-Man, all of them.
On Lingo Kids?
Yes, Dad, on Lingo Kids.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
You just lost them for the rest of the afternoon.
Worth it.
Full of fun activities inspired by Disney's Moana, Frozen, Zootopia, Marvel's Spider-Man, and more, Lingo Kids is where little ones discover more about favorite characters.
Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Want to know you're on the best path to the right car? At CarMax, the price you see is the price you pay. No negotiating, no last-minute surprises. Every car is CarMax certified and backed by a 10-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy with confidence. Want to shop from home? Go for it. You can come in when you're ready, take it for a spin, and buy however works for you. No pressure, no haggling, just the right car. Your way. Visit CarMax.com for details. Want to drive? CarMax.
This is Tony Ayo from The Real Report with Tony Ayo and Uncle Murda. You ever notice how everything keeps going up? Rent, streaming, even extra salsa at your favorite burrito spot? But with Boost Mobile, you don't have to play the will this go up soon game. Boost Mobile offers an unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. It's the same price you'll pay for life. Switch now for unlimited wireless at a price that'll never go up, only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
A burst pipe. A dead water heater. The AC calling it quits. Who do you call? HomeServe is an easy way to handle unexpected home repairs with plans covering stuff basic homeowners insurance usually won't. Instead of scrambling for a contractor, you make one call to get the repair process started. Join the millions of customers who trust HomeServe right now. Go to homeserve.com/podcast for 50% less your first year. That's homeserve.com/podcast. Savings compared to renewal price. Void in Florida.
How's Don Lemon changed from, when I talk to my friends about you, everybody loves Don Lemon today. You were a very divisive figure, Ferguson times. What has changed since Ferguson and who you are as a man, as a husband, as a son, all of those things to make you the person you are today? Or is it just your lived experiences?
Well, kind of. I don't think that I changed that much. I think the whole Ferguson thing was a lot of it was taken out of context, and I think a lot of it was, sort of Twitter, creating narratives that weren't necessarily true. If you think about when I reported in Ferguson, I refused to be afraid of my own people. When the network people said, "Oh, you can't report from there, you can't go live from there, people aren't safe," and I said, I don't feel like black people are dangerous. Maybe you feel that way, but I want to go live right here where everybody is and talk to black people and talk to whoever's involved. So I think that was sort of a misconception, and people didn't understand that I was working within a system where it wasn't just Don Lemon. Like, I couldn't just say things that I thought were my opinion about a certain thing, because that's not what I did as an anchor. I may give a point of view, but I can't give an opinion on something that the Justice Department had decided on. That's you as a political, if you want to call it pundit or a consultant or an analyst can do. That wasn't for me to do as an anchor, and I don't think people understood that. And so, especially black people who didn't understand that, I have to tell the truth. I have to give the facts, even if you don't like them. Sometimes I don't like them, but that's my job as a journalist, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. Not everyone agrees with my actions, but as a journalist, I have to do it. I have to interview people that people don't like. I have to interview people that people don't agree with. That's what I have to do. So how did I get, why do people like me now? It's because I can do all of those things that people wanted me to do and that I wanted to do, but I understood that I could not do that and then have credibility as an anchor on a network and represent 4,500 people around the country who are in war zones and all the things. Now it's me. And so I can talk about what I see on the streets, exactly what I'm seeing in Minnesota and in Chicago and in Baltimore and all over, and I can give my point of view, and if I want to give my opinion, I can as well. And if I want to tell people in real time to fuck off, I can do that as well. And I think that's what people like.
And you have and you are. How has Donald Trump changed covering the presidency? How has Donald Trump changed journalism? Other than the uptick of independent journalists like yourself, how has he fundamentally changed the way that media looks at him, the White House, and our elected officials?
Well, I hate to beat up on corporate media, but look at what's happening with CBS. Look at the possibility of what will happen with CNN. Look at how he has really marginalized and neutered much of corporate media with lawsuits. I have friends who work in corporate media who say we can't report on this story, we can't say that, we have to be careful about everything that comes out of our mouths. I understand that, and those are the conditions under which people are working. And I think that there are great journalists. I think the journalists at CNN are the best in the world, some of the best in the world. But I understand what Donald Trump has done to journalism and what he's trying to do to journalism. He's trying to chill journalism with my arrest and Georgia Fort's arrest. and with raiding the homes of a Washington Post reporter, of taking someone's a reporter's phones. He's trying to chill not only corporate media, he's done that, but now he's trying to do it with independent media because there are no gatekeepers. We can say the truth, and there's no boss that he can call and threaten our jobs if we don't give favorable coverage, or if we don't give fake, false equivalence or false balance. So I think that's what he's done, and I think, look, especially the folks, the people who work in corporate media and the corporate media owners have much more power than we do, at least resource-wise. And so they should be on the front lines of fighting for the First Amendment, for freedom of the press, and somehow they are not. They are derelict in their journalistic duties, and I feel like they are AWOL in this fight, especially with what happened to me. What happened to me is much bigger than me. It's not, Don Lemon is it's somewhat besides the point. The point is that our government can now tell you what you can report on, who you can report on, how you have to report on it, and where you can report on it. Then what's the whole point of this? What's the whole point of having a Constitution that has a First Amendment? It makes no sense. That is what Donald Trump has done to media and to journalism. It's sad, but we got to fight back. We can't let it happen. And I don't believe it's going to happen. I will fight to my very last breath for it not to happen.
Do we ever get back to the pre-Donald Trump journalism era?
I think we do if we are keenly aware of the possibilities in November. If the people who were apathetic and not motivated to go to the polls in 2024, if they become motivated to do that, if they understand what's on the line, if they understand that in this particular environment, it may be your right to be able to do it, but don't even think about a third-party candidate, because a third-party candidate has no chance.
I mean, we
at
walked
all.
down that. I mean, look at Michigan and the undecideds, or the people who were withholding the unaffiliateds is what they were called, the Mondanis and of the world, et cetera, who said that Kamala was going to be the war candidate. Now here we are. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, my friend Mark Lamont Hill, and who in 2016 was couching that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were the lesser of two evils. Eddie Glaude, the same thing, how he couldn't bring himself. And I find that to be the most consequential election we've had of our generation, was 2016. Losing that election gave Donald Trump 3 Supreme Court justices and changed the trajectory of a country. How are black journalists, very specifically and in particular, responding to Trump? Because you see the way that he treats black women who are journalists. We see him call them dumb and stupid. And my biggest disappointment is not necessarily I guess more of an indictment of leadership, is that no one from their employers has kind of come out and supported these women who he's beat up on, or is that just part of the job?
No, it's not part of the job. It shouldn't be. No one has the right to insult you that way. And I'm surprised, too. Well, I'm actually not surprised that their bosses have not come out, because they're all afraid. Look, Bakari, I'm not saying this about you, and I don't know, I hate for people to think that I'm beating up on CNN, because I'm not. But I have friends who work at networks, and I talk to them all the time. And they say, hey, Don, you know what, we haven't really even covered. We can't cover, and we haven't covered Kristi Noem's husband and his big boobs. We can't do that, because it's embarrassing to the Trump administration. So don't come on here talking about that.
I don't believe in slut shaming anyway. We're not going to slut shame around these.
But it's not. But look, that was the thing. I was like, well, shit, I would rather be friends with him than Kristi Noem. Because I want to be like, hey, dude, what's this all about? What's going on? At least he's letting his freak flag fly, which I think everybody should. But the hypocrisy is the whole thing, about conservatives and that, and then also his wife is in a huge position where there can be blackmailing and extortion, and one should be careful about that. But I'm not shaming him. If that's his kink, that's his kink. More power to him. Just don't be a hypocrite about it. But back to the point is that people are not even reporting fully, and sometimes not at all, in corporate media about things that should be consequential. We should be talking, Bakari, every day they should be running a story, I believe, about what happened to me, about the chilling of journalism and the chilling of freedom of the press and the First Amendment. That should be a very important story that's on the radar for every single media organization. The erosion of democracy. Yeah. Yes. And you know what else should be on? Because they talk about, black people this and black people that and how dangerous black people are. We should be talking about how with this whole Epstein thing and, pedos that they talk about all the time, how the biggest purveyor of child sex crimes and images on their computers and all that, middle-aged white men, most of them conservative men. If you don't believe me, this isn't me being race baiting or whatever. This is Tim Tebow, who is your conservative football god, who is saying we have to come to terms with this. We're not reporting on those things. And guess what? Democrats are not taking the opportunity to point things out like this to people about what's happening, especially by conservatives. Every day I open up my feed on social media and I see this MAGA person has been accused or convicted of this crime against children, this one against this one against that. And I'm like, why isn't that a big news story? Why isn't corporate media reporting on that? And so, look, I think that is the problem right now with the trust with media. There's no transparency. There's fear, very little transparency. And there's fear. And don't get me wrong, great journalists who are out there doing great things, especially in war zones. But we need more people here domestically talking about what the Trump administration is doing to kill democracy and to kill this grand experiment that we have, which is supposed to be in search of a more perfect union. Instead, we become a union of fear and one that has to kowtow to what looks like an authoritarian regime, not looks like what is an authoritarian regime.
Why were Democrats late to independent media? It feels like we're just not there, other than the Pod Save boys. And has that cost us?
Well, look, even we are still. I think liberals, and I'm not a liberal, but even someone who has come from corporate media, we're still enamored by the patina of legacy media. And we are in this particular thing that we're in with independent media, we are enamored by the folks who are independent media who still have the patina of corporate media. So the folks who are getting the contracts with, with corporate media, with the big news organizations, are the entities that still look like a cable news operation or a broadcast news operation, and who still sort of operate in those parameters. They're not the people who are outspoken, who should have outsized influence in this particular process, don't. They do on the right, because the right has picked those people up and they've made them into stars, because they're saying the things that we want to hear as conservatives. They're saying the things that people aren't talking about in corporate media. I think that left-leaning media, or not left-leaning media, but Democrats should be doing the same thing. They should be promoting and elevating and supporting the people who are out here and fearless about talking about the things that are important to save our Constitution. Now, as you know, Bakari, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent.
You're most of my homeboys. So, mostly because we come from the South. And they reject labels, and they think that Democrats all live in Massachusetts and New York, right? So let me ask you this.
D.C. But let me finish the thought. So the reason I say that is because I believe that Democrats are the only ones that are fighting for democracy right now. They're not doing such a great job. Certainly on the right, they're not doing it at all. They have completely relented the legislative process and authority to the executive branch. And the only people who are trying to at least keep our democracy and our republic are Democrats right now. And so that's why I say Democrats should be supporting independent media that is speaking on the behalf of democracy, and in many ways about what they're doing right and wrong and what they should be doing. That's it. Sorry, Bakari.
No, you're fine. So I got a twofold question. You're a black gay man from New Orleans.
Baton Rouge. Louisiana.
Same. I mean, they 30 minutes away.
I know everybody thinks everybody uses New Orleans as a catch-all for Louisiana, right?
If you black, you from New Orleans.
Yes. Luckily, New York City is named New York City, because everybody, if it was called Old York, everybody would call it New York just because it's New York City. I totally get it. Just like people call Tennessee, oh, you live in Nashville. No.
So the first question is you're very much independent, but you do have your Southern roots, and you do have the roots of being Black your entire life. Tell me how you see, or what you see through your lens and your lived experiences about redistricting.
I think that they told on themselves by the quickness with which they moved before the Supreme Court could even go, boom, this is happening. They're like, all right, let's disenfranchise the Black people.
I thought change took a minute. I thought it had to go through the legislative process.
Change takes a minute. We can't do reparations because we don't know how to do it. How do we figure out the process? Nobody can agree upon this. But the moment that they're able to get $1,776,000,000 to give white people reparations, boom, they can do it. They did it within a matter of days. And so how do I feel about that? My eyes are open. I've always, look, this is a racist process. We come from a legacy of racism and slavery in this country, and that has not gone away. So for people to say that this is not about the disenfranchisement of Black people, it is about that. Because otherwise, if it didn't matter to you, if you thought that it was fair, you wouldn't be trying to redraw the districts as they are now. And shame on the Supreme Court, and especially Clarence Thomas, to be voting the way that he did.
The cruelest trick that white people ever pulled on Black folk in this country since I've been alive.
It was slick, right?
It was replacing Thurgood Marshall with Clarence Thomas. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the cruelest thing that has been done since I was born in '84. So I don't know what, I mean, I do know, I've read about it, but just being able to see it in real life, in real terms. So let me ask you the other side of that.
That's a humble brag. You were born in '84. By the way, that's the year I graduated high school. Damn. You're making me feel old.
I know. So, I know you had to get up and turn the knobs on your TVs, but did they have color at the time?
and the Black people were called colored people then.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
This is Tony Ayo from The Real Report with Tony Ayo and Uncle Murder. You ever notice how everything keeps going up? Rent's going up, streaming services are going up. Even your favorite burrito spot suddenly thinks salsa should cost extra. But with Boost Mobile, you and your phone bill don't have to play the will it go up soon game, because Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. It's the same price you'll pay for life, meaning you're set to never worry about your bill increasing again for as long as you're on the plan. While the world keeps finding new ways to nickel and dime you, Boost Mobile gives you unlimited wireless at one set price for life. Imagine something in your budget actually staying the same. You'll pay the same for unlimited wireless when you're posting mirror selfies in your 20s and when you're posting mirror selfies in retirement. Some things never change. Switch now for unlimited wireless at a price that'll never go up, only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Mom, can I have Lingo Kids? Dad, Lingo Kids, please!
When did we become the Lingo Kids house?
No idea. Last week it was dinosaurs. This week it's...
Lingo Kids!
Why Lingo Kids?
Because it's the best thing ever. We can play games with astronauts, wild animals, and superheroes.
With more than 4,000 interactive games, songs, and shows, Lingo Kids is the #1 entertainment platform for young kids.
So, no dinosaurs?
And dinosaurs! Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
Most dog food brands don't really want you seeing how their food is made. Just Food for Dogs is the opposite. They actually invite you in. You can walk into any of their kitchens and see real human-grade ingredients like chicken, beef, carrots, and peas being prepared right in front of you. It's real food made in real kitchens. Nothing is hidden behind labels, and that kind of transparency says a lot. Nothing to hide, everything to love. Go to justfoodfordogs.com and get 50% off your first order.
Honest question though, what's on your birth certificate?
You know what? I don't know. It probably says Negro. I'm sure it says Negro.
Damn, you're old.
I'll go check it out, and I'll let you know if it says black or Negro. It definitely did not say African American. It might say black. It does not say African American.
Yeah, my dad says Negro. So let me ask you this question. Do you think that on the issues, because the most piercing ad that we saw during the 2024 campaign was Donald Trump's ad against Kamala Harris that said Democrats and Kamala Harris are for they, them. Donald Trump is for you. On issues of cultural significance, or what is perceived to be cultural significance, did Democrats go too far on issues like transgenderism, on issues like how the wokeness? We always find ourselves in these culture wars, and the only other thing that I can tell you always happens is we always feel like we're defending the right thing, the marginalized, because we are, but we always end up losing those same culture wars.
That is a very good question. And did Democrats go too far? Not in the sense that they should be supporting people who are underserved in the community, in the world. That's not just a patriotic thing to do or a democratic thing to do. That is the godly thing to do.
Correct.
Anyone who believes in any sort of higher power or higher being should live by those principles, because that's what it's all about. So did they go too far with that? No. I think what Democrats don't understand is that messaging is very important. Mm-hmm. And even if you're supportive of a particular group, it does not mean that that group needs to be at the top of your messaging. Now, I don't believe that Democrats put transgender people at the top of the messaging. That was Republicans who did that, and they found a sweet spot, and so they exploited it. I think there could have been a better response to that, and I think we needed people who would say they are for they, them, and just go, yeah, I'm for they, them, me, and you. I'm for all of us. And I think they could have been clearer about their stance on transgender and LGBTQ and all of that. And then I think that, again, just because you support a certain thing does not mean that that's where the messaging should be. Just as when we were fighting for same-sex marriage, it was a huge priority, especially for the LGBTQ community. It was a priority for Democrats, but it wasn't always at the top of that messaging. And so I think that in many ways, people who had gone through this, the gay community, especially gay men, knew that the point was to win. It wasn't necessarily to be at the forefront of the messaging, to be the star. You're not always the main character. And sometimes the main character is affordability. Sometimes the main character is the saving of democracy. Sometimes the main character is health care. Sometimes the main character is lower taxes. And so even though, you're supportive of those people who are underserved, people who are minorities, people who are treated poorly in this society, you're not always the main character. The main character is the character that's going to get you into power, whether it's the White House, the legislature, the Congress, or the Senate. The point is to win, and whatever messaging puts you in a better position to win, that should be the messaging. So did they go too far?
I'm gonna talk to my gay friends and say, Don Lemon says y'all got main character syndrome, and I'm gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna see how it plays out.
No, it wasn't about. I don't think that gay people or transgender people were pushing the messaging. The messaging ultimately came from the Democratic leadership, and then on top of that, the messaging. The people who realize how important messaging is, which is the Republicans, they made that part of their messaging, even though that whole thing about, gender reconforming, gender affirming surgery and all that stuff, that was a Trump era policy. And somehow Democrats weren't able to point that out, and then lost in large part because of it.
Before I let you go, Don, first of all, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I mean, you bring so much. Along those same lines, do you and Tim have any fear that gay marriage may be overturned?
We don't
the reason I ask is because black folk, we thought our voting rights were enshrined. We thought there would be no way that they would take away the things that we've seen, or no way that a woman's reproductive rights wouldn't be there. Do you have that fear? Do you have that trepidation?
I don't have the fear that our marriage will not be legitimate. Do I understand that that's a possibility and they're coming for it? Yeah. It's concerning that it is. I don't think that there's any way that you can revoke our marriage. or because then that would be discrimination if we had certain rights and then they were taken away. But yeah, I definitely think that they're coming for same-sex marriage. And anytime they say that they're going to send something back to the states, you know what that means.
No, I already know. Listen.
That means bye-bye whatever right that you had. But look, yeah, it's not a fear. It is a concern. And I think it's a definite possibility that they will try to do it. And if this continues to go on, this regime, for any longer, they may have some success with it, sadly.
Your advice to 2028 candidates, I mean, that's kind of where I wanted to end. I mean, if someone calls you, which I'm sure they will, they should, calling you about how they're going to break through and what they should be doing. What's your advice to 2028 candidates on breaking through and authenticity? I think Donald Trump did teach us one thing, although it's somewhat of a con, that people they want you to be authentic.
Yeah, they want you to be authentic. And I hear people all the time saying, that's what got us into this mess, that, you got to be qualified, you got to do this, and you have to have this experience. Yes and no. I think the person that is going to, look at what's happening with, what's his name, Spencer, whatever his name is, the guy from the hills or whatever. Spencer Pratt in L.A., gaining on the mayor there, right?
Which is
could possibly
crazy.
Which is crazy that he is in the same ballpark as Karen Bass, right? And to think about, we have Donald Trump as a president. The thing that people need to realize, the people who are running or who are considering running, is that people want someone who's going to fight back, who's not afraid of fighting back, who's not afraid of getting in the arena, who doesn't maybe have all the answers about policy and is steeped in this and steeped in that. Donald Trump, it doesn't have any of that. But he has a plan and he has an agenda. And I think whoever's going to run needs to be very clear that they're going to hold people accountable, that they're going to make sure that we go back to having some rights, and then that they're going to transform and evolve whatever rights that we have, that they're going to do what Democrats want, what progressives want, that they're going to find a way to make sure that we have affordable health care, that we're going to find a way to make sure that the rich people are taxed fairly and they pay their fair share. They're going to make sure all of those things happen, and they're not going to get in there and say, well, our priority isn't going after Republicans and bullshit. Go after them, sue them, tie them up in lawsuits. Make sure that they're held accountable, because if they're not, they're going to try it again. So make sure that we are no longer in a position where we have to worry about women's rights being trampled on, that we have to worry about black people's rights being trampled on, that we worry about gay people's rights being trampled on, that the lady who works as a secretary is not paying more taxes percentage-wise than a billionaire. And we have to make sure that those things happen. And whoever is in there, and I mean it could be a woman, and I hope that it is a woman, a qualified woman, I think would whip this country into shape. But to make sure, I'm saying that metaphorically, that they have the balls, and they're not going to be afraid, and they're not afraid to tell people what they're going to do, and then do it. Because we have to stop being afraid. We have to stop being mealy-mouthed. We have to stop saying, oh my gosh, we got to play by the rules. And we don't want to offend this person, offend that person. I want my president to offend people, especially those people who believe in the wrong things, who don't believe in democracy. And I want Democrats to stop with the purity tests, to stop alienating their allies, and to get on board. And to be in a place, to be the kind of people that realize that winning is it. That's what we want right now. That's what we need. Everything else is bullshit. Okay? So skip the dumb shit and everybody get on board. And I think the leader, whoever's going to do that, needs to be a person who can communicate that to the people who are going to vote for him. We don't need to, as much as, I'm glad that Liz Cheney came around, we don't need to be campaigning with Liz Cheney. We don't need to be trying to make friends with this person and that person, whatever. Do we need Republicans on board? Absolutely. But we need people who are on board who have seen the light, and those who we can possibly make see the light. But does that mean that they need to be the main character? No.
Don Lemon, Lemon Heads, Lemon Nation, thank you for joining us today.
Can I ask you a question?
Always.
Same question. What do you think is different about me? What do you see that's different?
I think that you're free. I think that you are brilliant. I think that you have a unique ability to talk to people, but I think that you were cautious, and I think that you were afraid to be Don Lemon from Baton Rouge, and I think now you're free. And that happens. Whether or not you get punched a few times, or whether or not you just wake up and say that life is becoming shorter, I need to be free. Now, the next thing that we all have to learn is that you can't be free until we all are free, which I also think you figured out as well. And so I think that's why we're here.
Very well put. I still ask the questions, Bakari.
You trust me, I know.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Running a business is hard enough. Don't make it harder with a dozen apps that don't talk to each other. One for sales, another for inventory, a separate one for accounting. That's software overload. Odoo is the all-in-one platform that replaces them all. CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, HR, fully integrated, easy to use, and built to grow with your business. Thousands have already made the switch. Why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
This is Tony Ayo from The Real Report with Tony Ayo and Uncle Murda. You ever notice how everything keeps going up? Rent, streaming, even extra salsa at your favorite burrito spot? But with Boost Mobile, you don't have to play the will this go up soon game. Boost Mobile offers an unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. It's the same price you'll pay for life. Switch now for unlimited wireless at a price that'll never go up, only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Dad, Disney activities are on Lingo Kids.
What?
Moana and Elsa and Marvel's Spider-Man, all of them.
On Lingo Kids?
Yes, Dad, on Lingo Kids.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
You just lost them for the rest of the afternoon.
Worth it.
Full of fun activities inspired by Disney's Moana, Frozen, Zootopia, Marvel's Spider-Man, and more, Lingo Kids is where little ones discover more about favorite characters.
Lingo Kids!
Everything kids love. Download it for free.
Think about it. When it comes to your own food, you can walk into a restaurant, see what's being made, and know exactly what you're getting. But with dog food, most brands keep that completely hidden. Just Food for Dogs does the opposite. They've built their entire brand around open kitchens. You can actually walk in and watch them prepare your dog's meals with real human-grade ingredients like chicken, beef, carrots, and peas, cooked right there in front of you. No mystery, no behind the scenes you're not allowed to see. That kind of transparency is rare in the pet food world. And it's a big reason they've become the #1 vet-recommended fresh dog food, earning trust from pet parents who want to feel confident in what they're feeding. When a brand is willing to show you exactly how your dog's food is made, it says a lot about the care, quality, and standards behind every meal they produce. Nothing to hide, everything to love. Go to justfoodfordogs.com and get 50% off your first order.